Hello dear viewer, Dollar Store Coffee Drinker Murdoch X here, and today I have for you my PlayStation 2 collection update for the month of September 2019. If you're new here, my goal is to have every PlayStation 2 game released in North America, but owning them is not enough. I only count them towards my collection after I've played them and feature them in one of these collection update videos. If you're not new here, this video is going to be a little bit different because in September I spent a week in Spain. I brought back a couple of things, and also my stack of games right there, you can see it right there, that's the stack of games that I go through that haven't been played and added to the collection yet. And in September I pulled the games off the bottom of that stack, the ones that I just have not wanted to play, the ones that I've been putting off. And I'm trying to warn you, this video is going to have a lot of stinkers in it. That's what I'm doing here, so bear with me. Thank you. First up, we have Championship Drag Racing. This game drove me a little bit nuts. It's mostly one of those who can hit the button first kind of discount games that grandma buys you because she doesn't understand video games, but she wants you to think about getting outside more often. Also, she's cheap, but you love her and you're very upset that your aunt and uncle stuck her in a retirement home. So the game is weird. I don't know anything about drag racing, but you have to like pull forward and then back up to the correct spot, and then it's just timing. Then you hit your button when the green light happens. You can upgrade your car, but this game, I hated this. If you're really into drag racing, I'm sure it's fine. If you're really into drag racing, you should own this game. Anyone else, skip this title, please. One of the items that I picked up in Spain was Rhythmic Star. I got it for €1. It's all in Spanish. Ooh, look at that. Yeah, it's a music rhythm / iToy game. It seems like the iToy did better in Europe. I've noticed actually there were quite a few iToy games in the discount bins where I picked this up from. Next up, we have Colosseum Road to Freedom. This game's story had me hooked. It's not very often that happens, so mad props here. The gameplay was fine. I didn't master it, but I did enjoy it. I don't know if I'd be able to play the game the whole way through, though. I wasn't excited to play a game where you just battled it out into a Colosseum over and over and over, but this game did keep mixing things up in interesting ways, so it wasn't bad. What I'm trying to say here is I'm sure that the fights get monotonous, but the story is interesting and makes up for some of that. If you enjoy fighting games, this one is pretty good. Now, the one thing that I'm really happy that I picked up from Spain, because it's an EU exclusive, is the iToy backpack. It's a single strap backpack. Inside the big pouch, it has this thing, which has like a couple of bags for microphones and a couple little slots for memory cards. On the inside of the bag, you got this pouch here where you can put your iToy. There's also a mesh bag deep down in here that's zippered closed. On the front, you have this. That's the back. On the front, you have this weird zipper opening. It's like it opens up on both sides, but not all the way. It goes all the way through. The one thing that I don't like about this, I thought about throwing away the box, but I ended up keeping it. They didn't care on the airplane, which is good, that they were pretty lenient about that. But it was sitting in the window at the game store where I purchased this, and so it's got some sun damage, but what do you do? That was all there was to it. I wanted it, it was a good price, and it was still in the box. How cool is that? So I'm happy to have this in the collection. I might still get rid of this box. Probably won't, but I kind of want to actually use this thing. I like this bag a lot. MX SuperFly. Get on a dirt bike and race. Sounds great. It's not. The mechanics in this game are unpredictable. I understand slowing down or braking to get around corners, but sometimes my engine just had less power when I was going in a straight line and was unable to make jumps that I had previously made. Maybe there's some nuance here that I missed, but the game feels broken. There are loads of racing titles for the PS2, and this one falls directly in the middle. It's not a cheap cash grab like Cartoon Network Racing, but this game suffers from realism over fun. I hate it when games claim to be realistic. Give me a game where I get a job and go to work for 8 hours a day so that I'm not homeless and yet still run the risk of getting cancer and going bankrupt. That's realism, and I don't want it. I know I just took a jab at Cartoon Network Racing in that last review, but I'd take that licensed turd over this one, which is Corvette. You race Corvettes and it's boring. This was designed to make the cars look good and be played by people who don't normally game. I'm sure that most people who bought this game enjoyed it, and I'm also sure those people have owned 2 games in their life. Okay, so maybe it's not as bad as all that, but this game will never again enter the tray of my beloved console. Winter 2003 Jampack doesn't count towards my collection, but it is the first demo that I've ever purchased. I think I found this in the clearance section at Half Price Books, which you'll probably hear me say that a lot on this channel. By the way, I've been working through more of the cheap games I find lately, so I've got a whole stack of clearance games that I'm trying to get through and make some videos out of. But back to this one. This edition of Jampack has 12 demos on it, including NCAA Game Breaker 2004, NFL Game Day 2004, Ratchet & Clank Going Commando, Rise to Honor, SOCOM 2, US Navy SEAL, Siphon Filter, the Omega Strain, Castlevania Lament of Innocence, DDR Max 2, Need for Speed Underground, 13, Whiplash, and James Bond 007, Everything or Nothing. I played Whiplash. I love that game. So when I capture game footage, I use an Elgato HD, and about 1 in 100 PlayStation 2 games, for one reason or another, it just won't record. I say one reason or another, I don't know what the reason is, it just won't record. I suspect it might have something to do with the video signal being listed as Japanese instead of a United States format, even though we both use NTSC. Like, I believe it might be a region formatting issue, because I have a Japanese PlayStation and my Elgato won't capture video from that despite it also being NTSC, so I think it's a region lock thing. I don't know that, but every once in a while there are games that just won't record. All of the Nipponichi games that I can think of, like Disgaea, Makai Kingdom, and Phantom Brave, won't record. One of the emulated Mega Man games, it's a collection of games, that one won't record. There's another one that does, so that's strange. But one that I thought would be fine, like, this game wasn't even on my radar, is City Crisis. City Crisis won't record, so I played it. It's an interesting game. I'm going to describe it to you, but I've got a video of it. You're a helicopter and you're doing one of 2 things. You're either rescuing people from buildings or you're putting out fires. When you put out fires, you have these missiles that put out most of the fire, but what it doesn't put out, you've got a sprayer on the front. They don't really show it on here, but there's a sprayer on the front, so you kind of get in front of the building and you move around, like, spraying out the fire. If you're not fast enough, or if you're not good enough, it will cause explosions, and the people that may have been waiting to be rescued could die, and that's just it. The other part is like dropping a rope down with a person to grab people, and even dogs occasionally, that you rescue. It's a fun game, and you've only got so much room in your helicopter, and when you get too full, there's a helicopter landing spot at a hospital where you drop off the people. It's a good game. It's surprisingly good. I actually do recommend this game if you run into it. Now, don't get me wrong, it's no top of the line game that's one of the best out there, but it was better than I expected, and it was pleasant. One of the things that's interesting is when you're putting out fires, you can either rescue the people first and let the fires build up, which could be dangerous, or you can put out the fires and then rescue the people, but there's always kind of a balance there, because if you put out the fire first, which will then cause less damage, you run the risk of, like, those people dying, because if an explosion does happen, if you didn't put out the fire fast enough, then, you know, those people were dead. But if you rescue them first, you give them more time for the building to be more likely to blow up, which causes a bunch of property damage. Now, you know, obviously, you know, life is more important than property, I think, but yeah, it's a whole thing. I'm rambling. It's a fun game. You should play it. Naruto Ultimate Ninja 3. I don't think I understood what was supposed to happen in this game. I just ran around doing fetch quests for people, and this is supposed to have fighting and missions, I think. I don't know how I feel about this. Did I not get far enough in? Was I missing how to get into the battles? This title felt like it was going to be something magical. There were little towns with characters sprinkled about, but all I did was find things for these NPCs. I have no opinion. I must have been doing something wrong? And the final game this month is ESPN 2K5, which is Leet Speak for 2005. I enjoyed this more than I thought I would. I made loads of mistakes, but I had a good time. I'm beginning to come around to football games just a little bit. I assume the Madden games are better, but I put more time into this one than I ever put into a Madden title. Maybe this one's just easier to pick up. I don't know, but I did have fun. I never expected to have a football game be the one that I saved for the end of the video where I talk about the best game, but Here we are. In September, I tried to force my way through some of the games that I haven't been looking forward to. And this one kind of came out on top. Who knew? With 6 new titles added this month, I'm now at 684 out of 1,795 games for a total of 38.1% of a complete North American collection. You know, the one thing that's been kind of surprising about this whole collection ordeal is that I have so many PlayStation 2 games now that when I come into this room to look for a game that is, if I just want to play something real fast, I'll kind of freeze up because I'll just look at all these games and I can't decide which one I want to play. The best games tend to be ones that require a lot of time to be put into them, and so a lot of times I'm like, well, maybe I should just play one of those short games, but those games aren't generally as good. I mean, you can always pop in, I guess, Katamari Damacy or something for some quick fun, but I end up just staring at my games. And then when I do pick a game, I think, yes, but there are games that I probably enjoy more than this one that I'm holding, and so I'll just stand there and stare for 20 minutes, and then after picking a game I'll stare for like another 10, and then by the end of it I just end up playing PlayStation 4 because my collection is like this many games. It's much easier to pick out of that stack. And on that note, I thoroughly enjoy Lego City Undercover. I think that's probably my favorite Lego game so far, and I don't think it gets enough love. If you enjoyed Lego games, give that one a shot. I'll just sit here awkwardly for a little bit, so there's kind of a wind down from this video. Subscribe, please. Or don't, that's fine too.